Hey, it's your old pal Slim, and this is a special bonus episode of 70mm, a podcast for film lovers. Normally, I sit down to talk about recently watched movies with my close personal friend and artist, Danny Haas, and our spiritual advisor and movie insider, Part Alexis. But this episode, we're continuing our tradition of watching the Jaws movies every summer with our producer at large, Dale. This episode is focused on Jaws 3D. So we're in our third year of this tradition. We're going to Jaws 3D. And more importantly than all that, the episode art that you see in your podcast app, Apple Podcasts, what have you, that's actually 3D. If you have 3D glasses, put them on, baby. All right, enjoy the episode. And for all of our friends on their way to our meetup, we'll see you soon. "70mm Tradish, Jaws." Mentioned it in the intro. It's a tradition for us to do the Jaws franchise as of the last few years with our producer at large, Dale. First things first, welcome back to the show, Dale.
Guys, it's the pleasure's all mine over here. Thanks for having me back on. I like that we are turning this into something that we could keep coming back to with the Jaws franchise. You know, we owe it to ourselves.
We owe it to Jaws.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Bruce.
Bruce himself, rest in peace. I think this might be, Dale, your first appearance on the main show since National Lampoon's Vacation.
Oh
Believe
my
it or not.
gosh.
Hold on, this is the main show?
This is the main show. This is going to be a main bonus show, bonus episode.
This is a main bone.
Wow, I did not. I know I'm a producer, but I just.
Dale just pooped himself a little bit. He would have prepped some A material, but instead we get
Oh my
B material
gosh.
tonight.
I thought this was a 20-minute Patreon, you know. That's fine.
Oh, just a few hundred people listen? No, now we're on the main
my-
show now. It just went up a few notches. But I do want to pivot ever so slightly from Dale starting to sweat that this is going out to the main feed to Danny.
Oh.
I tried to research this pre-show. I'm not sure if it's a claim I can make, but I'm going to potentially make a temporary claim. This might be the first ever podcast artwork in 3D.
3D.
Dale has not seen the artwork yet.
I'm sending it to him right now.
Sending
Oh
it to
my
Dale. It's in
God.
the DMs.
But you got to get the old school red, blue glasses. And this is some 3D art.
If you have red, blue glasses, put them on and look at your phone right now as you're listening. How did you even do this, Danny? What happened?
I had to step back into time to figure out how they did these things. And it was a lot of work, but it paid off.
It looks incredible.
Thank you.
I don't even have 3D glasses on yet, and it looks
No.
amazing, even without them.
I'm stunned right now.
It's Jaws 3D. You got to go big.
These are amazing.
Thank you.
You got to go as hard as Dennis Quaid on set doing cocaine in every scene. We have to go just as hard as him.
Screaming at his weld crew to do better.
And I can't be sued for that comment because Dennis Quaid has said publicly that he was doing a lot of cocaine on set. Okay, just
Right.
all the lawyers, just calm down. Listen.
Dennis Quaid, the most litigious actor working. But luckily, he has openly admitted.
So, Proto, what do you think about this Jaws franchise? I just found out earlier there's only one more to go after this. How do you feel?
I'm glad that I could go on this journey with you guys. I mean, this is great. I think the plan should be once we do the fourth one, then we'll just go back to the beginning and do them again.
Start over.
Why not?
Okay. I like
Jaws
that.
Redux. We need to maybe all the artwork that Danny does for the old ones also become 3D artworks. We just redo them all in 3D. Okay, so last summer we did Jaws 2 together in person. That was the first time we ever recorded in person, believe it or not. So as we're recording this, as we're releasing this, I think some friends of ours are probably traveling to get to our first ever meetup in the greater Philadelphia area. So we thought it'd be fun to drop this episode for folks that might be in a car for a bit or on a plane. But we will be going through Jaws 3D right now. Proto, do you have a synopsis or prepared statement to prep people for what this movie is?
Jaws 3D. the shark has been killed, but there is another. We are at SeaWorld in, is this Florida?
Orlando, I think.
Orlando, Florida. SeaWorld, they're opening a huge new attraction. Bouchard is, he's doing great things down there. So it's about to open, but then they find out that they've got a great white shark inside of the enclosure. This giant facility, beautiful facility. We got automatic metal gates underneath, keeping out, the creatures of the deep. But a shark does get in. They catch wind of it. Not before Leah Thompson gets in the water, though. With Mikey Brody's younger brother. They get
Adam
wild.
Brody.
They actually, Adam Brody. I don't know. I'm just taking guesses here with the names.
Brody 1, Brody 2.
Oh. But then they find out the shark's in there. They want to catch it and then put it in a tank. But what they don't know is that even though this shark is huge, this is the baby shark. There's a mommy shark inside too. And that mommy shark is hungry. And she is coming for flesh, for man flesh. And she'll get it before her day is done.
Can't tell if you're talking about Leah Thompson or the shark.
But that's basically it. That's Jaws 3D.
Are we talking about Leah Thompson's tooth leg gore from the bite?
She wanted to have intercourse in that water by hook or by crook with that Brody boy.
Yeah.
Bad.
I guess she's
Real
never
bad.
tried it before then. It's the first time for everybody.
When you're doing your synopsis, so just from backwards for new listeners, Proto does an off-the-cuff synopsis on these bonus episodes. They're not planned. I'm not sure if you could tell, but that was a not planned synopsis from Proto.
It's hard to tell.
When you were talking about the shark has returned, it reminded me of the Rise of Skywalker. Somehow Palpatine has returned. Somehow the shark has returned. So Dale, before we get into our segment, our top 3 notes that each person writes down for the film, we'll give our rating afterward. What's your history with Jaws 3D? Because I listened back to our Jaws 2 episode and you had like vivid memories of this.
Yeah, Jaws 3D. Jaws 3D and Jaws the Revenge, the tail end of the franchise was probably, my first set of Jaws movies because it was hitting around the mid to late 80s, and they were probably just on TV a lot more. I remember the original movie being like a myth that you had to rent or something, whereas Jaws the Revenge was on all the time, and Jaws 3D to a lesser extent in my memory. But Jaws 3D was like the tame version, and maybe because I had seen it so much, but it was just never as scary or as jump scary or thrilling as the previous 2. So it was more like comfort food because I want to be close to the Jaws franchise. I want shark in my life, but maybe I also want the prospect of an undersea kingdom and the fact that it exists and you could walk. Like I was semi-obsessed with the idea that you could be in an undersea. Like it wasn't like a tank in a building. You were under the water in their element, and it's so cheesy in execution, but the ideas that are there, like as a kid, were just mind-blowing.
The design of this underwater SeaWorld tubing pipe looked pretty cool.
Give it to me.
Like I would probably poop in my shorts if I was down there, but it looked pretty cool. Dan, do you have a backstory with Jaws 3D as a kid?
Well, I do, because I born and raised in Orlando. We went to SeaWorld a lot because it's cheaper than Disney, but also SeaWorld was always a school field trip. Every year we took a school field trip to SeaWorld. We were always there. So even young ages. So I remember this park the way we see it in this movie. We saw Shamu. The one of the dolphins, Capricorn, that was there was the dolphins that we see. He's still alive. He's still at SeaWorld, Discovery Cove. You can swim with it.
What?
It's 60 years old. It's a 6-year-old dolphin still alive,
Let him
kicking
go.
right now.
Just let him
So you can
go.
swim
Let
with
him
Capricorn.
retire.
I know. He
Never
was
die.
captured. Sad. But yeah, so Jaws 3D, we saw kind of young, and there was in my teen years, we got to camp at SeaWorld, and we got to take our sleeping bags and stay in one of the shark enclosures underwater at night. And all I could think about was leaning up from my sleeping bag, looking at the tops of my feet and just waiting for a shark, the Jaws, to come through the damn glass. I could think about the movie, the terrible, 3D moving shark, but I was just waiting. I was waiting for a shark all night to come through that glass.
Oh my God.
But so yeah, Jaws, it's a big deal here in Orlando-ish. They used to have a prop set up too at SeaWorld with one of the animatronic sharks that was like the 30-footer. You could get a photo with it, and it said like the shark from Jaws 3D.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
He's just making this up now.
You just made that up.
Just quick Google, you'll find it. I promise. You can get photos with it.
The only memory I have as a kid of this movie is the scene where the hunter is shown in the shark's mouth. I have a visceral memory of seeing that as a kid, and it just staying in my brain until I rewatched it the other night. That's it. Pardo, anything from you?
No, I've never seen this. I only really knew the name, nothing else.
Dale, what's your number one note for Jaws 3D?
Well, I just, my number one note is not about what's in the movie, even though there's a lot in the movie. There's no book that can tell me that SeaWorld thought this was a good idea. I'm obsessed with this. I'm obsessed.
Yes.
And the fact that Danny just said that there was a prop 30-foot shark on location that you could say, why would SeaWorld try to not distance themselves after this movie is made? And not because it's a bad movie, it's because people die in their park. It's amazing to me that SeaWorld branding is all over this, and their undersea kingdom is a death trap.
Louis Gossett Jr., what is his role? Is he like head of marketing or something? I can't remember his role, but he's also not shown SeaWorld in like a great light throughout the film.
Yes.
Over several times, there's times like where he announces himself. This is Calvin Bouchard, like real gently over the loudspeakers. People are at people at the trapped under there. They're like, who is Calvin Bouchard?
Oh, everybody quiet. Calvin's talking, guys.
Yeah,
like,
who cares?
Who cares?
Who Calvin is?
Did the Undersea Kingdom really cost $30 million?
Aren't those kids great?
Mr. Bouchard, is there anything special going on opening day?
Well, this afternoon, at the main gate, we'll be pleased to announce the welcoming of Mr. Philip Fitzroyce.
Oh, really? That's true.
No lie, boys and girls. He's gonna be here. Now we got drinks at the bar. They free. Come on. Follow me.
He runs like the entire show. I was thinking, we talked about that in Jaws 2 episode. And I should say that the Jaws 2 episode is just for supporters. It's not in the main feed. But what was like the vibe of 1983 with Jaws movies where a company like that would be like, yeah, let's film it here. Who cares? Like, I wonder were things that different in 1983 that they wouldn't care about like bad publicity? Danny, do you have any insight into that?
No, I don't have any insight, and I'm right there with you. It almost feels I don't understand it. I don't understand why they went for this, but honestly, I love it. I really love it, and because I'm a theme park nerd, so sticking this into a theme park, it feels kind of genius to me. But also, it makes no sense if you go to SeaWorld Orlando, it's not on the coast. There's no possible way that this is gonna ever happen because it's surrounded by highways and parking lots and homes and apartments. It's so funny that these shots of Florida, it's not even remotely.
Yeah.
There's no possible way this could happen. So maybe there's that too. It's like, it really can't happen. So it's the mystery of it, like the fantasy of it is out there.
Yeah, it's like it's SeaWorld is real, but it's in a fantasy location right on the coast, and it's like they're pumping in seawater that's separated by a chain.
I mean, did
link
they
fence.
say Orlando in the movie? I don't remember.
I could have sworn I heard Orlando. Maybe that was just in the wiki. Maybe they filmed.
Yeah, I don't
parts
think
there.
they do.
Apologies to SeaWorld. Prado, what's your number one for Jaws 3D?
I guess my number one would be really the shark.
Sure.
And the shots of the shark.
Get into it.
There are some really bad looking shark action in this movie. But also like very fun and entertaining. Like, you know, it feels very campy watching this. The thing that killed me is anytime the shark puts it in reverse and just like swims backwards. I'm pretty sure sharks can't do that, but just seeing like, you know, the prop of the shark just not even like its fins aren't even moving. It just like goes backwards was killing me. That happens like 2 or 3 times in this. So all those moments, they look bad, but it was just like, I was just having a great time watching it though.
Yeah. The first shark death, that like weird bodybuilder mechanic dude.
Oh
Cut.
my God.
That character is so strange, but he's underwater trying to open gates. I don't know if he's trying to fix a gate, but that's the first like big shark murder. Shark murder. It's such a weird phrase to say out loud, but he turns around, doesn't see the shark. He goes back to work, turns around again. Something happens off screen and it's just his hand that like floats away. It's the worst scene probably in any Jaws movie so far. And that's like the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Well, you got to remember, like those bits are for 3D. This is the 80s 3D that they're trying to throw at us. So when we watch it like this, it's gonna be bad. Like it's gonna be bad. It's also gonna be bad in 3D, but it's gonna have its more effect if we watched it in 3D.
Yeah. I'll go next. I'll piggyback in my first point. I thought the 3D sucked in this movie. Like, not just like the 3D. I know it's like aged 3D technology, but I couldn't tell if the non-3D scenes were non-3D because they were so out of focus.
Yeah.
And it almost looked like there were some non-floating hand scenes that they put in 3D, but I couldn't even tell. Like so many scenes with Dennis Quaid talking, I was like, why am I squinting just to make out what's happening? And then other shots kind of looked okay. Dale, did you notice that on this watch?
Yeah. It's like whatever you're directly staring at is fine, but everything in your periphery is like Vaseline on the lens, big time.
Yeah.
The whole movie is like that, and not everything was shot in 3D. It was just the certain points that were 3D dazzling to you, but it's just there was several scenes that stuck out in particular, but it was all bad. I think the brighter the scene got, the more noticeable that it was. It was just bad news. Vaseline.
Yeah, the way the movie opens, where the score is playing and it's the camera underwater, and then the first bit of 3D is just that fish head, just like floating there, like turning over. I'm thinking, this is a choice to have this is what you want to show. The first thing, a decapitated fish head in the water, as if like, oh crap, he bit off the fish's head. Let's go. It's in 3D.
Let's go.
Well, Danny, you're a 3D expert by this point. You've done the first ever podcast artwork in 3D. You're right. You can probably explain everything to us right now about the production of the 3D.
It's different than what I did. So the 3D that they used is the polarized lenses. So the stuff that you would wear at like the 3D rides, the stuff you'd wear in like a real 3D now is the lenses that they're using, and not the red blue kind of situation. Yeah. But yeah, as if you watch the movie, if you're looking dead center, those are going to be in focus, because as you move out, it's the 2 cameras set up. So the images get further and further apart from each other as the screen goes out wider, so that your eyes put them back together, which is what gives you the 3D effect.
Yeah.
That's the gist of it, basically.
Got it.
That's why some of the scenes have that prism effect on the out. Like it does have that blurry.
That's what kind of like tricked me into thinking, should I be wearing glasses that I don't own right now to watch this regular talking scene? Danny, what's your number one?
Number one, I still get very excited at the first shark attack. Not when they're
standing up on things.
Yeah, SeaWorld is at full force. The crowd's there. That whole attack scene where they're going 50 miles an hour on the water and the shark fin comes up, it still gives me the the jaws like butterflies in my stomach. Like that shark is booking it with this boat, which doesn't make any sense because every time you see the shark, it's going, I could outswim this shark.
Yeah.
Any other time you see it. But at these scenes with the boats, it's just cooking. But so that attack, that first scene where they're doing the pyramids on the skis, there's something about the momentum of that scene, the way it's shot. It really is the best scene in the movie just because of the action. Quaid's going nuts, getting people off the beach. And then a man gets punched because he doesn't get out of the water. And that might be one of the funniest scenes in the movie. But I love that whole set. That whole action sequence it feels top notch compared to the rest of the movie.
Yeah, that scene is iconic. It's on the movie cover, it's on the merchandise, but it's because it's probably the coolest scene. I mean, to see that shark fin come up like the days of old, and there's the risk of everybody's just multiplied because they're all goofing off.
Hundreds of them falling into the water. But like for me being just a theme park guide, to be able to be in a theme park and that shit go down, like that's like the dream. I would love to be at SeaWorld and watch people get destroyed by a shark. Like I'd be in the crowd in the splash zone waiting for it to hit my face.
Danny would have podcast appearances lined up for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
He'd be going to like Horror Con next to Freddy Krueger.
Right. Yeah. $5 a signature.
That scene is cool, and I love that idea. But the fact that the shark never gets at the people on the skis
never gets anybody.
Such a bummer. Really, like there's the first kill in the first 15 minutes of this movie. Then it's not until like the last half hour that there's another kill.
Yeah,
and they just kind of tease you the whole time.
It's like it's so random, but it's like Halloween H2O. There's almost zero body count in that movie, and this shark is just scorned but taking no victims. It's just like, because the first two kills are like throwaway. There's the welder, cut, chiseled, beautiful, drunk, and then like the coral poachers who are sneaking in and on that little rubber dinghy.
Yes,
just like trash throwaway people to get thrown into the mouth of this shark. It's such a shame because like the shark is like punching up through that deck. Like there's people are bleeding. There's blood in the water because they're scratching themselves on wood. This shark is not doing anything. Especially when you look at it from the shore and like that floating dock is like in 9 feet of water or something. It's like a lake right there.
Right.
A saltwater lake.
Also, it's the idea that's like the younger shark is out trying to like, eat these people, but then the mother shark is just like watching from afar.
Yeah.
Like, go get him, Tiger.
It was training them.
Yeah.
This is how you kill people.
Taking notes.
When we get up to Amity, this is how you'll kill people.
Right.
Speaking of Amity, I was on the wiki that said that this was like in the middle or kicked off the 3D 80s craze. Like there was a Friday the 13th, and I think there was an Amityville.
Amityville, yeah.
Amityville.
3D? Amityville Horror? One of the credits to start the movie I thought was weird. I'm not sure if you guys caught it, but it said suggested based on the novel Jaws. What a weird phrasing. Like this movie was suggested based on the novel.
Yeah, I tried to look into the reasons that they had this film, but none of it made any sense. Like why they were making a third one or why they chose to write it and why it was Alves, the guy who designed the shark, directing this movie. Like this is his only director's credit ever. And he's the guy that just designed Bruce for the first movie.
That's some cool posters.
And at a certain point,
great posters.
At a certain point, you had like Richard Matheson, who wrote like I Am Legend. He just did something that we did on Bat and Spider. He wrote the screenplay for, but he's like legit, and he wrote like a screenplay, trying his best. It's going to be a cool shark, unrelated to the Brody Boys, and they just tossed it because the producers insisted on having the two Brody kids in there. It's like try to convince if you're one of the Brody kids and you're in Florida in a boat and a shark starts attacking people, how are you like not like Wile E. Coyoteing through like the first solid building.
Mm-hmm. They're out of there.
I'd be comatose. Like the
Yeah.
one brother, the one who's trying to hook up with Leah Thompson.
Yeah.
Leah Thompson. His brother says like, oh, he won't go in the water. He had like a real bad thing happen to him as a kid. He does not fight that hard to go in that to not go in that water.
Well-
He's in the water like 2 or 3 times trying to, get some.
Get salt water
I was about to say
inside of
something
himself.
else, but Dale, what's your number 2?
My number 2 was they have at least one confirmed great white inside the park. A great white shark. Special, a majestic beast, rare in these waters. What's SeaWorld out to do? Kill it as soon as they see it. They hire big game hunter and his friend to murder this shark. They're just like, let's kill it.
Could be a stroke of luck. If we kill this beastie on camera, I can guarantee you media coverage. We can lure him into a staging area, and then at the precise moment, slit his belly wide open.
Can you do that?
Yeah, you try and stop him, mate. That's how we earn our bread.
Well, Jack is oversimplifying matters as is usual, but yeah, I can do that.
Let's get it. Let's trap it, and let's murder this great white shark. Like SeaWorld fostering, sponsoring whales that aren't, it's like people sign up for your biology to like attend to learn things, and they're just like, you know what? Let's kill this shark. Calvin
Bouchard.
the ratings alone on TV.
Ratings. Why does SeaWorld care about ratings? Oh my God, it's so lame.
That guy who played the wildlife photographer, Simon McCorkindale, playing Philip Fitzroyce. What a turd this guy is, man. He was, his acting was, there wasn't a lot of great acting, but like, man, his acting was rough in this.
Super rough.
That
he looks
accent.
like a parody. Like if they made a parody of James Bond movies, he would play James Bond in that.
Yeah, in like a Leslie Nielsen movie or something.
Yeah, he would get
speaking
killed.
of Leslie, did you catch any of the lawsuit from Jaws 3 because Leslie was making a National Lampoon's? It was called Jaws 3 People Zero. And Universal, he had the script pitched. It was a whole parody Jaws movie, and it was coming out when this was coming out, and they had to like squash it because it was called Jaws 3.
Oh my gosh.
So it was Jaws 3 People Zero. There's an incredible poster for it.
Oh my God.
And it would have killed.
I see a poster with Jaws wearing sunglasses and smoking a cigar.
Yes. Uh-huh. That was the top of it. There's a whole illustrated poster.
Right.
It's incredible.
Because we don't
That's
deserve nice
amazing.
things. That would have been
No.
amazing.
Yeah, we can't have nice things.
There it is.
Poor Leslie.
Jaws 3 People Zero. How perfect is that?
Leslie is
Amazing.
probably he was probably planning for 3 years to get that off the ground.
I think he's in the poster somewhere too. Of course he is.
A lot of women in bikinis on that poster. I'll say
yeah.
that much.
Could have been.
Pardo, what's your number 2 for Jaws 3D?
My number 2 is whatever story there is or characters that are in this. Dennis Quaid plays Mike Brody. And he's in a good bit of it, but there's no way this is anything like what you got in the other movies, where there's characters who seem to be affected by what's going on. They have a plan. It's kind of still centered around people, even though there's the shark. In this, it starts with the brothers, but then by the middle of the movie, there's really no plot or anything revolving around characters. I do think I need one of that mini jet ski though that Dennis Quaid had. That thing was
He doesn't even
incredible.
tie that up when he rides it to
no.
the dock. He just leaves
King.
it there and starts walking it. It's insane.
He almost cracked his shin on that dock. Trying to be a hot shot.
blood in the water.
Yeah.
High on coke, riding one of those things at top speed? Are you kidding
Yeah.
me?
Totally. I couldn't help but think about exactly what you said when I was watching it this time. And, it's like what kind of vibe? Maybe it's because it's the 80s now, and you got to have a different kind of a movie. But there's no tortured characters. There's no people looking at that need to look out for the greater good. Like somebody needs to take responsibility, and they're shirking that responsibility. It's just like a bug hunt or something. They're just out to, single out this shark so they can kill it with nobody's affected. How are we in our third movie featuring the Brody brothers, who have been personally affected by this shark twice already?
Right.
Yes.
And they're not like alcoholics because of it, or they're not like confronting their past. It's like Leah Thompson gives you a boner and you're like automatically convinced that you got to get in that water, and the salt water is like burning your shaved areas because you can't wait to get in that water with Leah Thompson.
They saw their friends being eaten by a shark.
Yeah.
They got over that?
There was a moment in the Jaws 2 episode where we all agreed that that kid was comatose after what happened to them in that water. And they don't even care. Yeah, it's just so bad. I mean, the writing is bad in general for this movie. It doesn't make any sense.
Agree.
My number 2, I'll just blow through my points. They're not like major points. I mean, how many major points can you have about Jaws 3D? Why are they hunting the shark at night?
Thank you.
Yeah, right?
They can't see anything, and they just think they're going to stumble upon this shark. They find the shark in 10 seconds. And not only that, but they also shoot a dart in it in one try. It's like the easiest shark hunt in history, and it happens at night with these bozos. Couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it.
When Patrick Fitzroy, who can guarantee media coverage, he like literally... He jumps in the water in front of that filtration pipe, and that shark is right there. Live bait. It's like we have 1 million gallons of water in this thing right now.
I couldn't believe it.
He just tells the audience that they're chumming the waters right now. So they don't show buckets of like fish guts being dumped in the water or anything. It's just him.
No.
One ketchup bottle of blood that he's squirting.
Yeah,
that's right. Ears perk up.
It was underwater squirting, right? Yeah.
Right.
The fact, too, that they have this setup that like, all right, these guys are going to go in the water at night. Why it's at night, we don't know. I'm like, I'm rubbing my hands together. All right, here we go. We're going to get some nice kill. We're going to at least get an arm bitten off. You're going to give us something here. We've been waiting long enough. And nothing happens.
Nothing.
They just take the shark.
He turns out to be the greatest hunter in the history of planet Earth. Like he backs everything up in that moment. Finds it in seconds.
Yeah, like yeah, you're right. Had that lifeline not snapped, they would have just killed the shark. The shark would have been dead with their little fast like smash bang on a stick and his knife. But because of that rope, if it wasn't for the rope, he would have been proven right for everything.
Right. How about his boy like weeping when he couldn't find?
I felt bad for that guy. He like genuinely loved that photographer.
His life is finished without him. Danny, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is your memory, Slim, and what we were just talking about. The man getting swallowed whole by this shark. I don't understand how this is possible. This to not only get in the mouth fast enough that your whole body can get in, but he's turned around facing out now with the grenade still in his hand, like he was ready to pull the pin at some point. It's such a fascinating thing, and for that to be the ending of this film as well, for him to hook this shark's mouth and pull the pin of the grenade to blow it up. It's cinema. This is what we go to the movies for.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Cocaine
incredible.
in your veins, and you have to hook a grenade pin from a shark's mouth with a dead body in it. Are you doing that? I don't know.
Incredible stuff.
Also, the way they telegraph that, you see the hand with the, like, that's Chekhov's hand grenade right there. You're like, all right, that's the death of the shark.
Yeah. Before he dies inside the shark's mouth by digestion, he like ties his arm to the gill so it doesn't like move further back into his body or something.
World's greatest hunter.
Yeah,
does
he knows.
it again, even in death.
What's not cool is the shark like doubles the body count in the last 2 seconds of the movie because all those workers that aren't Calvin Bouchard die as soon as Mother smashes through that window. And
Right.
Yeah,
like it's bad enough that he smashes through the window and people could drown. He just goes after him anyway. She just goes after him anyway and just like bites, doesn't eat them or tear them into shreds, just bites them to make sure they die.
There's a few lines at the end that I had to jot down. There's like, you lose Calvin for like 10 minutes. And then there's a line. It's like, Calvin made it. And that's just like, they added that line in. And then there's also a line, I think when before the press conference happens, someone says they're bringing in the wounded. It was like World War II. And they're just like bringing in the wounded from a shark attack. It was cracking me up.
I love that the control center is also underwater for no reason.
Yeah, right.
Like, how much did that increase the cost of this whole
It's
facility?
$1 billion project.
Bouchard's like, I need my control room underwater.
I don't even know how they have enough money to be paying for like all of this stuff. It's like NASA underwater, but it's SeaWorld for like a few cave systems.
That shot's incredible too. When the glass breaks and that room fills with water, it looks like they dumped gallons in on these people.
A lot of water.
It really goes in quick. I was shocked.
A lot of water.
Yep.
Dale, final point, final note for Jaws 3D.
I don't even know if I have a final point. Just how about maybe Danny can corroborate the mid 80s fever of playing standoff in a bar that you've never heard of until you saw this movie. But maybe in Florida, this movie where you got to press against each other's hands and try to maintain balance is so everybody. If you overhear like if there's like a camera shot following a waitress carrying beer, there's like conversations happening about what's going on in this bar. Like everybody's talking about this game of stand up, and then the Brody boys are bringing their talents from New England down to Florida. Like they play it in New England too.
So it is a game that we played a lot down here. We played it as teenagers. We played it during youth group. I don't think we called it standoff, but we would do the slapping and seeing if we can knock someone over.
Wow.
It really was something that I've played plenty of times.
Champion.
Varsity jacket probably hanging up right now.
But I can't confirm it is a game that I've played down here in Orlando. Yeah.
Dale, why, since we're exhausting our list, what do you think your maybe honorable mentions final rating for Jaws 3D?
Oh my gosh. I had so many fire off in my brain as you guys are talking. Naturally, that's what happens. But when they first discovered the baby shark is in the lagoon, and somebody runs to get Calvin, and he's having dinner with the hunters. Like somebody whispers, Calvin, they found a great white shark in the lagoon. What's her name? What is tending to it right now? Calvin's like, you two who don't work here, you better come with me. you guys right here. Like, let's keep it internal at least until you get the story. You two, you're gonna love this. I'm so stuck on these hunters.
It's incredible stuff.
You better come with me.
I thought the same thing in that scene. He just like brings them along. They're part of the whole scheme now. They're all in on everything happening at SeaWorld.
Yeah, they're like consultants now.
Bouchard was like on a different level. Like his energy was like at 11 for all of his scenes. I wrote one of his lines down. He said, "You talking about some
damn shark's mother?"
Like he was just like either really excited or absolutely pissed off at what somebody was doing.
Final rating, Dale? Any other notes?
It's so like I watched it under a critical eye for this viewing. Made me hate every decision made. But in the end, I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter if it's a shark or if it's a bear or if it's a human. If it's a scorned mother some shit's going to pop off, right? Like if it's a mother angry enough to defend her baby. So like in that light, a 35-foot shark making the decisions it made, stupid for a movie, but for a scorned mother seeking revenge, it's exactly what that entity would do, whether it was smart enough or like had opposable thumbs to do whatever that shark needed to do. Based purely on the love of the franchise, 3.5 stars.
3.5 stars.
3.5 stars.
Wow.
I'd love to see it.
It's
3 stars is good. You know,
yeah.
entertaining time for Dale.
I get it. It's a personal _A 3.5 star.
Proto?
So my favorite shot in this movie, where I really felt it, and I actually was scared for a moment, was the shot where they have like a breach in the one tank or whatever or something, and they have to send the welders down. So there's 2 welders on the pipe, and then I think it might have been Dennis Quaid was one of them.
Yeah, it was Quaid and Catherine.
Okay, yeah, and they're like, oh, the shark's here, you know, and then you get the camera's like down below them, and it like looking over the pipe and them, and you see the shark come over top, and the shark looks huge in that shot, and I was like, whoa, that was like the only scene that like really gave me that sense of like, whoa, this shark is huge and terrifying. So that was my favorite shot of the movie. And the one that really gave me like that Jaws feeling. Other notes, honorable mentions. How about Leah Thompson drinking from this random guy's beer? Like she just met this guy.
Yeah.
And like he drinks his beer, he puts it down, and then she just picks it up and takes a swig. Like, can we not?
Too much.
That would not fly in 2022.
Chum in the water.
Yeah, a little too much for me.
How about they like they prop up beer? They're like, you know, the champagne for the working man. That's what we're drinking. They're all like,
love that.
Champagne for the working man.
Yeah. How about like that whole like character development meaning nothing later on? Just like 20 minutes of meaningless scenes with them.
Also, how about the potential move to Venezuela? Is Dennis Quaid going to move to Venezuela to be a shop foreman? Like, why can't we let her go and work at the Scripps Institute and train whales?
Who has the better career trajectory in this movie?
Yeah. He's going to go work at a casino in the maintenance shop in Venezuela. The money's good. Money's good.
So for Jaws 3D, I'm at 2 stars, but this is the kind of movie that if I just like had a long day on the beach and I'm on the couch back at the vacation house, throwing back a couple beers, this is the kind of movie I want to watch.
Yes.
So exactly. I would watch it again if it popped
couple
up.
of cold ones.
Yeah.
Champagne of the working class. We watching this at our lake house trip in 30 days. Fire this up, put our 3D glasses on.
Say the word.
God.
Say the code word.
Mexico. That's a reference to a previous episode of Thief. FYI.
Real ones now.
My final thoughts. I think we hit them all. Why are they hunting at night? This looks awful. The cave looks insane.
How about the cave having interactive tentacles for a theme park?
That was wild.
That would never happen in any theme park ever.
No way.
You're not interacting like that.
World. My God.
That thing would be trashed in 2 hours.
Right? It'd be a different shade of purple, whatever color that was. Faded.
My son walked in and watched for a few seconds, and he said, "This is the worst CGI I've ever seen."
I don't even know if there's CGI even in this film.
No. I mean, imagine near 12 any of these 3D things floating in front of the screen for 5 minutes. They don't know what that is, nor should they. Last note is the final explosion of that shark and his jaws. Floating in front of the screen, like that's the last remaining remnants, his bloody mouth in 3D.
Couldn't show half of a blown off face,
That's all they could afford, just the jawline of the shark. With that said, I had a great time watching this. It's terrible, but I had a ton of fun. 3.5 stars for me. Yes, Jaws 3D. Danny.
Let me go through my final. The Yellow Submarine. How awesome was that little device to scuba down with that? Oh, give me
that
that
looked expensive
any day. The amount of time Mike Brody gets in the water fully clothed drove me nuts. The dude just jumping in. When
the great white, the baby tank, the baby great white tank.
Oh yeah,
he just dives in.
Are you clean enough to get in that tank? You're trying to nurse this thing back to health.
When the girl gets pressed her face against the glass by another man, I guess that was in the tank area when they're all panicking. She gets like shoved up against the glass.
Oh, yes.
That's about it. The explosion at the end. So the body parts that blow up, there's a shot of like it looks like an intestine or something. Apparently that's the neck of an E.T. doll. And it was like their nod to Spielberg. I'm like, this is not how you nod to Spielberg.
Yeah, right.
By blowing up an E.T. neck.
Hey, Steve, that's his gizzard flying across the screen. That's the E.T. gizzard.
Reaching across at the premiere. Hey, Steven, that's E.T. Yeah.
we blew him up just for you.
Right.
This is a terrible movie, but I have a blast watching it. It's 3.5 stars easily.
Oh my God. Yes,
wow.
the synergy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tradition continues. Let me look up Jaws Revenge on Letterboxd
It's
right
definitely the lowest rated of all of them.
Wow.
Jaws
Has
3D,
to
our
be.
ratings passing the Dune line. Who could have foreseen?
Love to see it.
My God, Lorraine, she's back.
She's back.
She is the star of Jaws: The Revenge, 1987. 1.5 average. Oh my God. Mario and Melvin Van Peebles are in this.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Oh yeah.
Dude, this poster is sick.
It's a slap.
It's the
and
greatest.
poster.
Holy cow. This
Michael
is what
Caine.
we had.
Michael Caine's in this.
Michael Caine is in this one too, baby.
Oh my God, Proto. Next year, it all
Next
comes full circle.
Year.
11 to
We're
12
back.
months.
I read that Roy turned this movie down. He said he would only do Jaws 3 if he was killed off in the first 10 minutes.
The Wikipedia said he took a role specifically to not do Jaws 3D.
Yeah.
Blue Thunder.
Yeah, that was it.
man.
Out there.
All right. Well, Jaws 3D in the books. We tentatively, until we can get confirmation from Guinness, first ever 3D podcast art from Danny. Bravo.
Thank you.
Dale's first appearance since Vacation. And if folks are listening, have been enjoying Dale's appearance on this episode and the David Copperfield special that went out to interns on Patreon, by the way, check out Bat and Spider Pod. Bat and Spider Podcast, my favorite podcast. You guys just kicked off a new bonus show, the Hammer House of Horror, Saturdays.
Yeah, on Saturdays.
Nothing to do with Army.
No, it's completely unrelated to the alleged cannibal Army Hammer.
Nothing to do with Army Hammer's insane things that give him pleasure.
But ride that hashtag, baby.
I
The
know.
SEO on those episodes has to be off the charts right now. People checking for that Discovery Plus show, and they're getting your filth podcast.
Can't wait to see their faces. Yeah, we check out Bat and Spider. We do what we want over there. Mostly, low budge, kind of culty, not horror all the time. Some kung fu in there recently. Some spaghetti west, whatever we want. But yeah, and our second podcast of the week now is back for 13 episodes because the Hammer House of Horror in 1980 ran for 13 episodes. So check us out.
Your boy Chuck's going to be on our next Monday episode. We're talking Thief.
Yeah.
I just realized that my
Nice.
reference is for an episode that isn't even out yet. That I said Mexico for.
Eventually, it'll all line up.
Somebody
Yeah.
will figure it out.
All recorded within the same week. I mean, Bat and Spiders episodes and these. We're just putting out content tonight.
Pumping
This
it.
week. Pumping it.
Proto, any closing thoughts until next year for Jaws: The Revenge?
Oh, I mean, I think one Jaws a year is a good cadence. So if you're going to do that, maybe just rewatch the first one. But if you're feeling brave, you're at the beach, you're on vacation,
Yeah.
you might be a little inebriated. Maybe put on Jaws 3D.
Well said. We'll see everybody next time. $70mm is a tape deck production featuring original artwork provided by Danny Haas. Spiritual guidance and V'ger, the robot who loves movies, provided by Pertalexis. Producer at large, Dale_A. Transcripts provided by Sophie Shin and music composed by Cinematric. Prints and other merch are available on 70mmpod.com. This episode was mixed, edited, and produced by me, Slim. Support our Patreon for access to our VHS Village Discord to talk movies with new friends, access to our exclusive episodes in the 70mm vault, discounts on merch, uncut episodes, and a physical membership card mailed to you. To check out other Tape Deck podcasts, find the link in the episode notes. And if you'd like to support our friends at Letterboxd and upgrade to pro or patron status, you can do so with a 20% off discount using the links on 70mmpod.com. Goodbye.
This is a Tape Deck podcast.